She comes storming in front of the stage with a handfuls of her business cards, throws them at my feet, and says, "You ruined my career, and you will remember my name." Today I'm going to talk about jams. As a musician, jams are very, very important. All right. I've participated in a lot of jams, and I've had the great pleasure and honor of running a lot of jams. I'm going to talk about the jams that I've run, though. As a jam master, what you're trying to do is you're trying to make sure that everybody that's there to play music has a good time. But at the same time, you're trying to make sure that the audience that's there as part of the experience is having a good time too. So you want to kind of keep things flowing as much as you can. And most of the time that works out pretty well. Once in a while, you get a musician who's a little fussy about their gear or fussy about who they're playing with. But most of the time it goes pretty well, and everybody gets along and everybody learns from each other. It's a great experience. People have a good time. Once in a while, though, things can get crazy at jams. I've had the honor of hosting a jam for the last 13 years at a high profile event where musicians are gathered from all over the world to congregate on a very, very famous or infamous musical setting, and that is Beale Street. Whatever Beale Street is today, there's a lot of history to that. And any musician that shows up on Beale Street to play for the very first time is excited beyond belief. And when you host a jam where these people get an opportunity to play, you have a lot of excited people getting ready to play. The thrill of a lifetime for them. It could be just the one thing that they'll remember for the rest of their lives. Well, in these jams, you hope that everybody just gets along and has a good old time and all that. But once in a while, you'll get these musicians, and they're not really there to jam. They're really there to showcase themselves and to show how hot they are, which is cool, But it creates sometimes very tense situation. So here we are. This is one of these jams. There's 400 people in the place. It's packed, ready to go. I get some people up on stage. I got a keyboard player, a singer, stuff like that. Everybody's ready to go. People are coming up on the stage, getting their instruments ready to go. I don't see a drummer, but I see this woman standing by the drums. And I say to her, "Are you the drummer?" She says, "No." And she points to the guitar player that I brought up. She said, "I'm her singer." I said, "You're her singer?" I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, I have a singer coming up that's going to sing right now, but you'll be getting up on the next set." She goes, "You don't understand. I'm her singer." It's escalating. So I said, "Well, it's a jam, so we're kind of mixing it up. You different people play with each other." She said, "But I'm her singer. When she's on stage, I'm on stage." Well, as you can imagine, it didn't go well. She actually was escorted off the stage. Meanwhile, her guitar player is up there having the time of her life. Thinks this is actually the best fun she's ever had. She's playing music on Beale Street at a high-profile club with 400 people watching. Well, that set ends, and I'm going to bring the other woman up now, right? Too late, because before I get a chance to even say anything about that, she comes storming in front of the stage with a handfuls of her business cards, throws them at my feet, and says, "You ruined my career, and you will remember my name." I go, "Okay." And she goes storming out the place. We continue, have the jam, everybody gets up. We had about 112 people up on that stage that night. Guys in my band are heading out too, and they decide they're going to go get something to eat. I'm finishing up. And they go out the back door. Everything's closed up. Well, as soon as they open that back door, guess who comes in? And there she is in all her glory. Got her wig off. Makeup's running down her face, and she's a big girl. And she comes right up to me. I'm sitting down, putting my guitar away. She says, every name that I heard when I was a sailor in the Navy and then some I'd never heard before, calling me out, saying, "You stand up." And she takes a beer bottle and breaks it on the table and says, "I'm going to cut you. You ruined my career." And I'm thinking to myself, if I stand up, it's going to go even worse. So I try to appeal to her reason. I said, "Come on, sit down. We can talk about this." "No, you get up out of that chair right now. I'm coming at you." Fortunately, the sound man was also a big fella. And he'd come up from behind her, grabbed her, knocked the glass out of her hand. Said, "We're having none of that in my place." Took her to the door, put her out. She's out there pounding on the plate glass door, just going crazy, just going crazy. And down on Beale Street, when these things are happening, they have police at the top end and police at the bottom. Policemen come over, talk to her, take her away. I figure that's the end of it. So I pack up my stuff. My buddy and I are getting ready to go. I go, "Just a minute. I want to have a conversation with the policeman at the top of the street here." And I go and I say, "Well, being a man in the South in particular, I'm thinking if something goes bad where there's a confrontation between a man and a woman, no matter what, who started this, being the man, I'm probably going to be the one that's going to get." So I said, "I just want you to know there's a woman here that's a little upset with me." She goes, "Oh, yeah," he says, "that woman, she wants to kill you." I said, "Oh, that's comforting." And he goes, "Nah, don't worry about it." He said, "Where's your hotel?" And I said, told him. He goes, "You just walk right down the middle of Beale Street. You just go on your way. Everything will be fine." So I did. Walking down the street, walking down the street. My buddy's with me. He decides he's going to stop and have a conversation with somebody that he knows. So I'm waiting for him. I'm standing in the middle of the street. I got this guitar in a case, and I'm still in my performance clothes. So I'm a sitting duck if something's going on. Sure enough, out of the alley, here she comes. She's got a piece of conduit in her hand. I said, "Here we go. Here we go." I turn around and I'm looking and I'm figuring out what to do. She's getting closer, swearing, hollering, going crazy. Meanwhile, I get a tap on my shoulder. I turn around, it's a police officer from the other end. He says, "You just keep going." I walk, I get around to the corner. She's hollering and screaming. I look back, and there she is, face down on the bricks with cuffs. I felt bad. I felt bad. The next day, I happened to run into some people that knew her and where she had come from. They said she'd been going through a hard time and she was pretty upset about things going on in her life anyhow. I felt bad about it. I didn't think about it anymore. 3 years later, I get booked in a festival to play blues festival, and it's in her home state. I never thought about it. I get a call about 3 weeks before the festival that says, "Hey, I just want you to know she's going to be there." I go, "Oh man, that's interesting." Well, it wasn't a week later that my manager started getting texts and emails from somebody, we didn't know who it was, inviting me to some after parties and jams that I might want to participate in while I'm out there. We did a little investigating. Come to find out, it's her. I'm thinking, is she trying to make amends or is she trying to get revenge? I don't really know. Get out there to the festival. Let's just say I made sure that I was prepared. I had some help on my side, and I get to the festival and I'm kind of getting nervous about this whole thing a little bit. I don't want no altercation. I don't want anybody to get hurt, but more than that too, I don't want things to look bad for the festival. So I happened to say to the stage manager as I pulled in, and I said, "So I understand that there's this," and I mentioned a name, that takes part in this event, right? "Oh, yeah, yeah, she comes every year." "Not this year. She had a Car wreck about 2 weeks ago. She's laid up in bed. She ain't gonna be here this year. I just went. Moral of the story: jams are wonderful, but in a high-profile situation, you're running that jam. You better be alert that there might be some people that are on edge because they see the jam as an opportunity to kind of show everything that they got. And if things don't go the way that they think that they should, you could have trouble. Yeah, that was a jam. That was a jam to remember, and I never forget.